Namaste, beautiful souls. Welcome to the third episode of Womb Wisdom, where we'll try to look at women's health from the lens of Ayurveda. So, once again, ma'am, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Yes, it's a
Ma'am,
pleasure always to be here and address our audience.
and ma'am, today I would like to first of all accept that the topic that we are going to pick up, I do not know much about it. It's a shame. And that is the reason I think we should give a little bit more time. And the topic is perimenopause. We see our mothers going through perimenopause, of course, grandmothers, sisters, but I understand that nobody knows about it. I did not know. I'm sure nobody at my home knows about it. I don't think even my mother knew about it when she was going through the same. So, ma'am, what is perimenopause and how is it different from menopause?
Right. So, peri, as the word denotes, is actually a phase before the actual menopause.
Okay.
Now, how do we define menopause? Menopause is a cessation of menstruation, which has been so regular with women over a period of time, decades rather, and we see that the menstruation rather stops at a given point of time.
Right.
An average age, say in Indian women, is around 47 to 52. So when we look at this, there is a phase which is easily 3 to even 7 years before the actual menopause.
7 years before that.
Right, it
All
can be, right?
It can.
So where women start seeing fluctuations because of the reduction of the hormone which is actually maintaining your menstruation, which is estrogen. So when a girl child is born, there are millions of cells which are generating different phenomena which actually start capturing the hormonal balance. And as the age and as age advances, the follicular size starts reducing in women, and as it becomes lower, then you start seeing the cessation of menstruation.
Okay.
It's nature's gift. Otherwise, women will keep giving birth to kids. And it's now, of course, in this era, you have a lot of different methodologies which definitely can restrict reproduction, but ages before, a few decades before, even during my grandmom's time, I know that she had about 8 children.
Wow.
And probably she lost one, and I still have 7 of my uncles and aunts. One of them is my mother. Right. So when we look at this whole beautiful way in which nature has enabled, and also nature wants to disable a particular physiological activity in women, that is where menopause is something which has not been understood too well. Especially before that is something which has not at all been understood too well, and that's where it's important for us to lay a little more emphasis on that.
Yes.
So that we are able to educate more women and help them understand how to navigate this phase very effectively, so that it is able to actually help them prevent health problems and also manage their emotions.
So, ma'am, in your 25 years of experience with all the women who come to you, what do you think? Do women know what they are going through? Do women know that they are going through perimenopause? Do women know how to identify, okay, there is a change in my body and it's leading to menopause?
It's both ways.
Okay.
Okay, so even in a rural setup like Bangalore, I see mixed reactions at the clinic. Some women just come, I'm facing hot flushes, I am actually not able to sleep, I'm very irritable, I'm not able to, and I kind of feel like crying. And I'm facing a lot of aches and pains, so many things. So they feel that they have a problem, and that's why they are here, to meet a doctor. But what they have actually been experiencing is perimenopause, which is not a disease per se, like you have a fever, cold, cough, arthritis, but it is also not a disorder, but it is a physiological change which actually starts exhibiting itself because of lowering down of estrogen. See, it's an adjustment mechanism. Before menstruation, it's like, okay, now I've been menstruating for the last 45 years, and suddenly tomorrow it stops. Nothing can happen that way. So the body is slowly trying to readjust itself, and this readjustment phase is what we call as perimenopause, and it comes with certain signals which women should identify, but yes, because of lack of awareness and
Hmm.
education, they're unable to.
Ma'am, I was just doing some research and trying to understand for a conversation. There were some definite signals that body gives. There's, of course, a lot of emotional turbulence, a lot of weight gain in some cases, anxiety as well. Women develop, and of course, in India, people do not understand, especially at our mother's age, they don't understand there's something called anxiety and it should be addressed. So, what are these top 3 to or maybe 5 as well symptoms that everybody in the household can understand and remember, and whenever a woman is going through it, we can be there to help them?
Right. So primarily, what can women see, in the perimenopausal phase? One is a bit of weight gain, especially the abdominal area,
Yes.
and this is the way the body is trying to adjust. So they should not get into certain practices to start avoiding this whole change because it still continues.
Mhm.
Next is they can have some skin and hair issues,
Okay.
face a little more dryness in the skin. It includes vaginal dryness, it includes dry hair as well, lot of hair fall,
Hmm.
uncontrollable hair fall in many women despite all parameters being normal.
Mhm.
Apart from this, you can also see problems such as emotional upswings, so a lot of mood swings. More than that, it is emotional breakdown which we see in
Hmm.
perimenopausal women, unable to also balance their regular activities which they were that fast track, they're unable to really manage.
Hmm.
So pacing up themselves is something which they find it difficult, and also they face sleep issues. They can
Okay.
also face problems such as hot flushes. So the last two are actually primarily very very important and very commonly seen.
Ma'am, till date, I knew that hot flashes you only get once you are at menopause. If you say that a woman has to go through hot flashes even 7 years before that, then I think it's too much for a woman to take on with, you're saying, skin dryness, hair loss, of course, you lose your beauty as well. And this is something which has a deep psychological effect on women because we get into that scene that okay, we are aging. So from Ayurveda perspective, if you can tell us what we can do, how can Ayurveda and yoga help us to, I'm sure there, I mean, I cannot get away with the symptoms, but are there any ways which can reduce the effect of the symptoms?
Right. So when you say, we lose our beauty, it's actually not right. Okay. It's an aging process, and aging gracefully is what everybody should look at. And when we think about perimenopause and menopause, women should first of all not feel vulnerable. Secondly, they should not feel that okay, maybe my sexual drive is going to get lost or it's going to get reduced, and I'll have a lot of relationship issues. How do I navigate all this? This is something you have to question yourself, and also discuss with your husbands, partners, your children. They're all there, they're already in an age where they can understand you probably, unless you have very young kids. So this
Hmm.
is the way they have to understand, and beauty is never lost, okay? Because the when yes, definitely, when the estrogen levels are up, our skin looks more tight, and we look more maybe attractive. But have you not seen an Indra Nooyi even now? Have you not seen somebody like Kiran Majumdar
From
Shaw?
yourself as well.
I'm not that old yet.
True.
So, but anyway, we've seen women in their 70s who are still very graceful,
Yeah.
right? So it's all about management. So half of our life, if you look at 100 years as age we would like to live to,
Hmm.
then at 50, how are we? This is the place where actually you are undergoing the transition. So first of all, welcome the transition,
Mm-hmm.
flow with the transition, understand the transition, and transition is going to be beautiful. What
Hmm.
happened when you got married to somebody? Did you not move out from your own very, very comfortable zone of a parent's place
To someone else.
to someone else, maybe in-laws place, but not necessarily? You moved out with your husband to a new place. You purchased or you rented out a new place. You kind of settled down with small things, right from your utensils to your bed to everything. You created a space for yourself. So create your own space when you're at 50, and you can do lots. We have heard the founder of Nykaa, who
Yeah.
actually founded Nykaa at 50, right? So there is nothing which can stop anyone. So we have to prevent that, uh, what we call as a cognitive decline, or we talk about a physiological change which can impact us negatively. Work on it to ensure that it positively starts helping us grow.
Ma'am, anything like at the age of 40 or 45, like if a woman like me, who now knows what is perimenopause, I am going to get into that phase of my life at some point of time, if I can do some preventive measures so that I have a smoother transition, right? So two questions actually. When can I start working upon it? And what are the things that you would suggest for us to do?
Correct. So, say during 40s, it's good for women to be vigilant,
Okay.
because if they have a healthy lifestyle, they're probably going to face less impact of these perimenopausal and menopausal issues. So, one of the other common problems which we see and we did not talk until now is the period problem. Okay, so they sometimes face sudden heavy flow.
Okay.
They do not have any underlying phenomena such as fibroids or endometriosis, but they start feeling that the flow increases, erratic menstruation, sometimes at 20 days, sometimes at 40 days, sometimes at 60 days, or sometimes on dot. So regular menstruation is not a feature of not saying that I'm in perimenopause. Okay, so somebody is in perimenopause can still have regular menstrual cycles at 25, at 30 days, sometimes maybe 2 days, sometimes 4 days, sometimes 5 days, sometimes it looks very normal. But the inherently the physiological change starts if you're a little more a person who has an active lifestyle, who's sleeping well, who has good diet, then you are facing the repercussion of it a little lesser. So I think it's all about understanding, therefore. So women at their 40s definitely have to know that it's important for them to have an eye on what they're doing, what they're eating, and definitely inculcate yoga in the form of physical activity, because it influences the hypothalamo pituitary ovarian axis, which is regulating the hormones. And this is why breathing practices such as stretch based breathing practices or pranayama, which are regulated breathing practices, immensely help. Not only this, like you said, Ayurveda, right? So Ayurveda looks at this phase as a slightly aggravated phase of Vata. So when we say Vata, it is something which controls your system. So the endocrine function, the system of the nervous system, all fall under this purview of Vata. So it's a very large topic. So it's very difficult for audience probably to understand. Oh, what is Vata? Is it just wind? No. Okay, it's just a lot beyond that. So basically, this is how Ayurveda starts defining, and it definitely explains this whole phase of perimenopause and menopause is 100% explained in the ancient textbooks of Ayurveda as well. And since we look at it as a Vata phase, we also start treating women based on the signs and symptoms they show.
Ma'am, I think we'll have to do another episode on Vata Pitta Kapha because there's little to no knowledge in this generation around the same. But if I ask you about, how I can, manage perimenopause through Ayurveda and yoga, do you have some tips around that?
Oh, yeah. So, definitely, Ayurveda and yoga are great tools for managing a condition like perimenopause. And before that, I just want to, kind of share that Ayurveda explains this phase of menopause using the term Rajonivritti. Okay, Rajas is the menstrual blood, Nivritti is the cessation. So, they have lot of tips around how the woman should manage herself, what is the condition of the body, physiologically how is she feeling, and they also talk about the social support which the lady seeks and which the society should also understand. When we talk about society, we are talking about the near family, especially the husband,
And the kids.
and the children. And when it's a joint family, then you have little more extensions. So either way, it's more first about how she perceives it and how she also helps others perceive the condition. So when we look at this, we actually start analyzing the person's prakriti, that is the body constitution. So everybody is born with a said combination of Vata Pitta Kapha, So, for example, I will probably explain to an example which makes it more clear. If we see a person, a lady is in a perimenopause, she's a Vata individual, that means she's a little high on Vata, her personality type. So, inherently, she is already having a bit of anxiety in her, she has that pace in her, she's somebody who can get vulnerable little more easily. That's her little bit of personality type. Now in perimenopause, what has happened, she is getting succumbed to these things. The fear factor can be little higher in her, sleep issues can be more in her, because this is where the Vata is actually the controlling force in these areas. And beyond this, she can also start having more of these aches and pains issues. So this helps us now design the treatment. So when it is this way, we definitely would suggest probably a very short course of panchakarma to just
Okay.
detox, set the metabolism right, to balance the agni. And beyond this, we will also suggest some external treatments such as nasya. So nasya is a therapy where we instill some nasal drops into the nostrils, and it's a medicated drop. And after this, we help them, cleanse their upper respiratory tract especially, and this also helps in regulating the hormones. So there's a concept in Ayurveda where they say that the nose is the route towards the brain.
Okay.
Nasayam Shirasodwaram is the
Nasayam
Shirasodwaram.
Shirashodwaram. Okay.
Dwar is the door.
Okay.
Right? So Shiras is the head. So Nasayam Shirasodwaram. So you want to treat anything to do with your head and neck region, Nasya is a route to instill medicines. And perimenopause and menopause women who have hot flushes, aches and pains, who have too much of this stress syndrome, respond extremely well to Nasya. They're very skeptical when we suggest, and after 5 days, 7 days, or 14 days, I hear from most of the women that I feel a lot better. So it's about believing in it and starting something. So first of all, a patient who comes to us wouldn't have experience in Nasya.
Correct.
Then
Obviously,
where
yeah.
is the question of making them understand that okay, something is going to become all right? They have to experience to understand the change, and that is where Ayurveda can play a very, very crucial role in recovery process.
Ma'am, I think how you are explaining Nasya, do you think women who have undergone menopause already, but they are also not at their best when it comes to emotionally and mentally, would Nasya help them as well?
Oh yeah. So post-menopause is another condition. Peri is one thing, menopause is another, and post-menopause is another condition. So Abhyanga, which is a full body Ayurveda-based massage, which they can do themselves, which they can go to Ayurveda centers and do, and Nasya, Shirodhara. These are some of the external Ayurveda therapies which will be highly beneficial to regulate the Vata, because beyond 50, 55, or actually beyond 60, Ayurveda puts this age bracket and calls it Vata predominant.
Vata predominant.
Yes.
Does that mean the irritability of the women is already high?
Yes, that's why it's higher.
All right. Ma'am, taking a step back to what you mentioned earlier, that there is a community, family impact when a woman is going through perimenopause, shouldn't we have support groups of women where they can come and share so that they feel like they have been heard? Or people can share their experiences, or people can share their, if they have taken some Shirodhara or Abhyanga or anything, so that it's a shared knowledge, shared wisdom, and obviously we as humans learn from community and feel more confident when it's a feedback. So do we have some support groups, or is this something which can be impactful and meaningful?
So support groups definitely make them feel heard, like you said. What also gives them the confidence is it's just not only me, it's also few others, or bigger bunch of other women who are also facing similar problem like me, and that makes them feel that I'm not alone in this whole problem scenario. That's how community and support groups do help. Like from VHG, we have a community group where people can also join in, ask their questions. But this is not specifically for perimenopause, but we address a lot of problems in the community there. And when it comes to perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause, it's just not the lady who has to understand, it's also the family. Especially
Absolutely.
the children need a little more information. See, most of them, the women, have children aged maybe between 15 to 18 or 20,
Correct.
around that, or maybe beyond 20. Beyond 20, they are understandable, they understand little more better. But this up to 1920, they probably have their own problems. So they do not understand how they can support their
Their
mother,
mothers.
but they would expect the best support from the mother. So this is where they will have to draw some line and help them understand. If there's a real problem, it's definitely good to sit and talk.
Mhm.
Okay, otherwise there's no point in crying behind the screen. So and there is no point in feeling pity about yourselves,
Hmm.
and neither you should invite anybody pitying you. So I think
Correct.
it's being bold, and still carrying your transition most beautifulely. So we say bold and beautiful, so I
Yeah.
think you have to adapt that in different senses.
I think please reach out to us if you want to be a part of that community. We would be very happy to help you. Moving forward, ma'am, I think we were candidly talking last week or so about women in their 45 coming for their fertility treatment and stitching everything around that you have shared so far. Perimenopause, is it safe to say, first of all, perimenopause starts from 40 to 45, which is already impacting infertility? So, how do you think? I mean, what are the challenge a woman has to go through if at all she wishes to bear a child at that age? How will perimenopause affect that decision?
So perimenopause does affect the decision because it shows that there is a decline of the ovarian reserve, and it will definitely impact the hormones and also impact the fertility indices. But of course, the advancement in modern science has given women many options. I know many women who still do not, probably who are not ready to get married or not ready to get settled down with a partner to bear children, are looking at egg freezing and the other
Hmm.
options available. Though these options might enable pregnancy during 40 to 45, the chances of pregnancy are going to be lesser. This is
Listen.
something everybody should understand. The highest chances of pregnancy is always around 30,
Right.
right? Because the index is on the highest. So even anybody would agree, you're 28, 26 to 30 is a very good phase for women, and beyond that there is always a very slow decline, but up to 35, 37, there's still good chances. But when you're close to 40, the
Okay.
chances start reducing, and this is something which everybody has to accept and work with nature and not against nature.
Ma'am, this can be a wrong question to ask, to be honest, but do you think, if at all, if somebody wants to bear a child while they're going through perimenopause, can Ayurveda be of any help in this scenario?
Yeah, so we are talking about improving the ovarian responses,
Yeah.
improving the hormonal balance. So undergoing panchakarma, undergoing yoga therapy, undergoing acupuncture, all of them are going to enhance this
Enhance.
whole process. So like it's more like you're creating a better foundation and then trying to build the house. So you're trying to create a better foundation so that your reproductive health is much better, and then you can start seeing and looking at conception using all the present newer methodologies of assisted fertility, which is very advanced right now.
We'll have to cut here. Uh, do you want more questions, or should we wrap it up? Okay. So,
So
ma'am, what
on
questions can we?
perimenopause, maybe we have to address sleep hygiene. So when we look at sleep, what are the common problem women face with respect to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
then I have a couple of points there.
Okay, and like two, three things. Sleep will cover.
Sleep will cover, because in that people have hot flushes, they have
Mhm.
wetness, like the
Okay.
clothes
Okay.
really become wet, they get up with that night sweats.
Yeah.
So these things we didn't talk. We
Okay.
can probably talk that. And treatment, anyway, we spoke. And we'll talk about supplements, herbal
Okay.
supplements.
All right. Okay. All right. Ma'am, So we did talk a lot about the symptoms, and one of the major symptoms was irregularity in sleep cycle. First of all, what can we expect as a woman when it comes to irregularity in sleep cycle? Sorry, irregularity. No. What is the alternative for that? I'm fumbling it. Irregularity.
Irregularity, or you say sleep concerns?
Sleep concerns. Okay. So, ma'am, we did talk a lot about the symptoms of perimenopause. One of the major concerns that people usually, apart from hot flashes and everything else, is sleep cycle concerns. So, first of all, what are these sleep cycle concerns that one should be aware of? Okay, if this is going on, then maybe I am entering into a certain other phase of life. And of course, how can we improve upon it?
It's sleep concerns are manifested in different forms. Okay, we
Okay.
see different presentations. So some of the women might face very erratic sleep cycle, in the sense they take long time to fall asleep,
Mhm.
or if they're able to sleep, they feel they have to wake up in between. Either they feel like visiting the restroom, or sometimes they wake up with their clothes feeling wet. So
Okay.
these are night sweats. So night sweats is one of the common problem which women face. They also feel their scalp is sweating.
Okay.
So they might face itchy scalp and all that in the morning,
Mhm.
but they can feel that there is that
Sweat.
sweat in the
Okay.
scalp. So all these are, of course, due to perimenopause, due to the reduction of estrogen. So night sweats are a very difficult problem to address, because it disturbs their sleep.
Mhm.
Many times they do not get sleep. That's a different problem, but they are not able to sleep because of this,
Because of this.
right? So that
Mhm.
is definitely a concern which they need to address. And methods like panchkarma, which is virechana, detox, and then we have nasya. We have oral medications of ayurveda in combination with acupuncture and yoga have given us wonderful results. So women see a reduction in night sweats very easily in about 15 days. So
Okay.
many also take hormone replacement therapy, which is a
Okay.
synthetic way of taking medicines. So now modern medicine offers HRT as a remedy for ensuring that they have a better phase after menopause and during as
Okay.
well. But
Okay.
there are always pros and cons.
Mhm.
We are not here to comment about HRT, but we are here to comment more and talk more about the holistic, natural way of living, which can enhance our own health. So when we look at sleep also, the same process has to be adapted.
I think you have time and again mentioned Panchkarma, you have mentioned Abhyanga, you have mentioned Chirodhara, Virechana. If you can tell, I mean, we do not always have to wait for symptoms to come to us. So if you can tell us, okay, at the age of 40, you should start these things every 6 months or every 1 year, take these treatments, and of course when you transition to the next phase of life, it will already be at you will already be at ease.
Correct.
Can you suggest some plans so that people can look at it and of course talk to the experts and start taking those treatments?
Yeah, I think you got the point right. So we are looking at more preventive approach, reducing the burden in the
Yeah.
society, and ideally, what women can also do is around their 40s.
Mm-hmm.
At least early 40s, they can definitely take a panchkarma, which includes virechana followed by nasya,
Okay.
and once in a month or once in 3 months, they can of course take a full abhyanga, which is the Ayurveda oil massage, and beyond that, they can also take supplements. Now everybody has become so fond of supplements. They have jars.
And
So
there's so much confusion around it.
that's also true. So what they do, they'll try to check on Instagram, or they'll try to check on any social media platform for that matter, and try to see what is there for me, right? So that's not the way. I think it's important for them to know that calcium, vitamin E, vitamin D, vitamin B12, all these are very important during perimenopause, menopause, and popping each supplement is not the answer for it. Diet regulation, ensuring that all that is a part of diet, is something which they can do.
Absolutely, yeah.
And also ensure that physical activity which enhances the musculoskeletal system is very important, because the more you walk, the more you run, the more you keep yourself active, enhances oxygenation to your body
Okay.
and enhances your bone health, right? So there are different other mechanisms also in the body which contribute to formation of calcium, maintaining of calcium. So this is where they have to understand that it's important to look at all the aspects and just not go one way and then think, okay, supplement is an answer for everything. And likewise, in Ayurveda also, we have very good supplementation which can come in from herbs like ashwagandha, brahmi, shatavari. You have other herbs which can keep up your skin health, and you also have these herbs keeping your emotional health intact. There are many more. There are many more polyherbal combinations which are going to be based only on prescription, and do not always rely on over the counter Ayurveda supplements. Once again, the names I took are once again over the counter, usually just picked up by people, but they may not get all that which they otherwise desire for. So meeting an expert and getting that right prescription becomes important. Some common polyherbal combinations we use are like ashwagandha rishta or ashoka rishta. There's one more called Kushmanda Rasayanam, looks like Chavanprash. Okay, so these are some things which are very good. So all that I mentioned is there in one of them. So that's why we call them polyherbal formulations, and they are all manufactured by good manufacturing practices of standard Ayurveda companies. But that's also a very important point,
Yes.
because people do not know uh, where to pick the Ayurveda medicine, which company to pick. They think that everything is the same. A to Z, any company you pick is the same.
But the composition is definitely different.
Compositions, more than that, it's about the quality.
Efficacy of it,
Efficacy will differ based on the quality. So if you do not purchase medicines from standard manufacturing units, then you might land into trouble also. And then people should not complain that oh, Ayurveda has heavy metals and I had liver toxicity or I had XYZ issues. Nothing is going to happen if you are on the right track, understanding where to buy, what to buy, and are with the right practitioner.
I'm very glad you picked up this topic of supplements, because there are so many women, and of course, it's targeted towards them as well, 40 plus, where they are going through perimenopause. Of course, they're losing elasticity of their skin, and they're more drawn towards over the counter collagen supplements. Please address this, bust the myth if it is. Please address this problem. Should we not? Because I think a lot of women have so much confusion around this.
See, collagen as such is a supplement. Now, we also have such supplements like glucosamine for joint enhancements, joint strength, etc. But everything doesn't come that way, because you also should know how much of the supplementation is going to work well for you.
Yeah.
Instead of that, you can also look at natural collagen, in the sense you're not generating extra collagen, but you're trying to help your skin feel rejuvenated.
Correct.
Usage of oils such as almond oil, castor oil, and nicely massaging it the way it has to be. If you do this way, it obviously leads to more sagging.
Yeah.
So there are different techniques. So one, usage of such oils. Second, enhancing the usage with Ayurveda oils.
Okay.
There are many Ayurveda oils which are specific for skin.
Okay.
Like we say Manjishtadi Thaila, Nalpamaradi Thailam, Eladi Thailam. They are just some names which I am taking. They can be used for daily or weekly 2-3 times. Massage yourself, take some steam, apply some herbal pack. Why has Ayurveda looked at Mukhalepam? I am not giving a special recipe for facial today. I am taking it from Sushruta Samhita, which is one of the ancient texts of Ayurveda where Mukhalepam has been mentioned. So, well, you will be very thrilled to understand that Ayurveda talks about facial as a therapy, and way back, even in texts like Sushruta Samhita, or there's one more called Sharangdhara Samhita, all of them mention about the types of Mukhalepam. Of course, they talk about it to treat skin conditions, but acne, hyperpigmentation, that is scars, all these have been mentioned as skin problems. So Mukhalepam has been known since then, not that we are trying to bring something new right now.
Yeah.
So that's how we will have to use the traditional sciences to our preferences right now, and then make changes adequately to suit present day's requirement. So why not take a facial therapy at an Ayurveda place? Why look at only salons? This is a drift which we have to bring in the population, and this can actually enhance skin health. So when we look at perimenopause, we are talking about skin health. So this is a way in which women can also prevent a lot of sagging, take care of their health. And it's everything cannot happen with external beauty products. That is something which people have to understand. Your beauty has to be from within, in the sense we are talking about the right food, right lifestyle, exercises or yoga, right thought process, which is very important for ensuring that your face looks beautiful.
I think, ma'am, we'll have to do another set of series when it comes to beauty and Ayurveda, because I'm sure many of us do not know about Mukhalepam, or for the matter of fact that we can come to an Ayurvedic center rather than going to a salons and having treated by chemicals and all the kinds of creams that we have in the market right now. Ma'am, coming back to perimenopause, and if I ask you, if you want us to leave us with any thought regarding perimenopause, so that women who are entering it or who are in it can action upon it.
See, actionable points are many, but maybe a couple of them is what I would like to mention. One, understand that there is a problem, first of all. And even if you feel the problem is small and looks normal as usual, please do visit an expert, a healthcare professional, to understand whether you need help. If you need help, based on the degree of your problem, the help will be definitely given. So the advice is something which you have to take and work on. Whether it is Ayurveda, allopathy, homeopathy is not the question. First, attend to your problem. Secondly, maintain a disciplined lifestyle. Eat the right food. Give yourself that me time and relax well. Bring in relaxation and breathing techniques on a day-to-day basis. And also ensure that you have a good 7 to 8 hours of sleep to ensure that your hormones are under regulation. Not only this, you also have to ensure that you give yourself that work-life balance. Otherwise, you're always running around and you do not know what you're doing, right? It is like being helter-skelter. So it should not be that. You have to know that there has to be some basic norm which has to come in, and that would also help in enhancing this whole process of feeling good, because perimenopause is not a disease, it's not a disorder.
Exactly.
It is just a physiological change in yourself. You have to accept it and work on it, and you will get over it.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing so much about perimenopause and through the lens of Ayurveda. I hope you get some information and help out of this, and I urge every one of you to help your mothers, to help them understand what they're going through, and maybe also all the women who are getting into it and have understood that they are into perimenopause. Please, if possible, go and talk to an expert, whomever you are comfortable with, and keep smiling. Namaste.
Namaste.